Welcome everyone to another episode of Indie Hangout. I am Neumatix. You may know me over on YouTube or over on Twitch if you add an extra X at the end. I am joined by my amazing co-hosts and a special guest. We'll get into that in a minute. But Kronos and Maz, what's going on, guys?
How's it going, everybody? Kronos here. You can find me on YouTube and Twitch, streaming at OSOKKronos.
What's going on, guys? Maz from Maztech Gaming. Find me Maztech Gaming over on YouTube, Maztech_gaming on Twitch. And you mentioned Neumatix. Not only are we doing a 13th episode already, you mentioned a special guest, and it's one thing that it's been great because I met this developer when I was doing an indie game showcase, one of those new series on my channel. Been having a lot of fun with that. But the developer of Felbound is joining us today, which is really exciting. This is Florian with Poink Games. Florian, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me here. Yeah, it's a great opportunity for me to talk to you guys. I'm always happy to meet people who are interested in the whole indie game industry. And yeah, I really appreciate it to be able to talk about my game and yeah, whatever you ask me.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
I really appreciate that. And before we get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? How did you get into the game development? What is it that you've been doing?
So I come from a completely different profession. I studied mechanical engineering and I worked in the industry for a couple of years, and about 8 years ago, I think it's 8 years now, I started to develop games. So at the beginning it was really simple stuff. So I didn't know to code, I didn't know how to make art, I didn't know anything about games besides from what you know if you play them. Then I improved my skills over the time besides a full-time job, and about I would say 2 years before I started to jump in the cold water and try to develop a commercial game and live from it. So yeah, and the first game is Felbound. It took me about 6 years to be able to make art and programming and everything else at a level where I thought I could try to make a game that I can sell and where I hopefully get some revenue out of it. Yeah, that's shortly about me.
Nice. That's awesome, man. I love hearing about game devs popping in and you learn that they've learned everything that they know from the ground up of teaching themselves and really digging into it. I think that's like the best way, honestly, is just trying to teach yourself everything and seeing that you've been at it for a while. You can really tell with the game, with the way your game looks so far. It's one of those honestly, it stands out compared to a lot of others. And so I got a question for you on that, though. What's your core idea behind Felbound? Like, what's the genre you're going for with Felbound, so our listeners know? And what gave you the idea to make a game like this?
So, yeah, the genre is action roguelike. You cut enemies with your sword most of the time. And the idea about the game was I wanted to mix this old school rogue genre, this turn-based rogue, with modern action. I didn't want to make a copy of like all the other action roguelikes. I wanted to make it more feeling like the old rogue, if you know that old game with this symbol graphics and everything, where you get potions. The potions are not identified. If you pick them up, you have in each run the colors change, and it had this every room you enter could be your death. And
yeah,
That's very true.
Was the starting idea of the game. But on the journey of developing Felbound, I realized it's not easy to bring your ideas into a game so that people understand it and that it works and that it's really fun, because a lot of the rogue mechanics don't work in action. And yeah, that was a hard learning because I changed a lot over the time. For example, I never wanted meta progression. I wanted that every run is new and feels new, but I also felt that I can't implement some of the mechanics of Rogue so that would work. On one hand, because it's too much effort. Because in Felbound, I have this frame per frame animations. So I have to draw every frame for every attack, for every movement, for all of the stuff in the game. And that's pretty time consuming. So Rogue for example has a lot of different weapons. I can't do that because it would take too much time to have 10 different weapons. That's one thing, for example. Um, so I made it that I looked more into modern games like Undermine, Enter the Gungeon,
Oh yeah.
Hyperlight Drifter, all this really cool new games. And I also looked more on the features they have. So now I have meta progression, and I removed some of the rogue elements I had before. And yeah, that's probably also because I was very inexperienced about game design. 2 years before, I was okay at programming, okay at art, but I didn't look too much into game design because I thought, okay, I played so many games, I know how to design a game, and I was totally wrong. And yeah, that's probably also the reason the game takes longer than I want. But yeah, it's okay because I'm learning a lot, and I think Felbound is in a good state at the moment. It still needs a lot of more work, but I'm not totally unhappy with the game at the moment.
Nice. That's awesome, man. I know all too well that same experience of like I feel like you probably feel the same way when you jump into your game. It's the most time consuming thing is making all those little sprites and making all your animations and stuff like that, and then getting them into your game and making them work. So it's good to hear that multiple indie devs have problems or not even just have problems with that, have it where it takes that long. That's the struggle.
Yeah, it's like you have to draw the sprites, put them into the game. Then you have to program something. Then you need sound effects. Then you need some polish. Then you maybe need some text. Then you have to translate the text and stuff like that. More than just putting anything in and it works. Also, you have an idea. Then you put it in and then it doesn't feel right. Sometimes it's also hard to say, doesn't it feel right because it's not polished enough, or maybe it's not a good idea, or something else, and it's not always easy to say what's the problem.
Right.
So what inspired you to create Felbound? Like, was there a specific moment or like story or idea that you had seen and thought you could make a game out of it?
Yeah, probably it's not one thing, it's a lot of things. The first thing was, okay, I was thinking of what what kind of game can I make? What does my skill set and what can I do with it? That was the first thing. Yeah, I also wanted to make something I can enjoy, and I like action games. Like I played before I developed this game, I played Enter the Gungeon, Hyperlight Drifter, and a lot of other games like what else did I play? Dead Cells and stuff like that. I
Oh yeah.
always loved indie games, so probably all of them are inspiration somehow. But when I started developing, after I chose the genre, I was always a fan of medieval fantasy, so I like swords and magic and stuff like that. And yeah, and wise, Felbound is a little bit a combination of Enter the Gungeon combined with Zelda Minish Cap. I love how cute Zelda Minish Cap is, and on the technical side, how the tile size is and wall size and all of that. Looked a lot of it. I took a lot of inspiration of Enter the Gungeon. But gameplay wise, it's more Hyperlight Drifter. Sure if any one of you knows.
I have heard of it. I haven't played it before, but I've actually I've watched some gameplay of it.
Yeah, Hyperlight Drifter is also an action game, but the art and the sounds and the music is amazing. So if you like action-based games in general, look at it. It's great. I really can recommend it, and it has this great feeling. It has this great indie game feeling that's very unique.
Nice, man. Say, spin it over to you, Miz.
Yeah. So without spoiling too much, can you describe the world or the setting of Felbound? Like what makes it a place players want to explore?
Yeah, so basically it's playing in an ancient temple. The player doesn't know what's going on. He just appears in this hub area, then he gets to this cutscene where this goddess gets caught from the evil god. And basically it's some kind of afterworld, but you don't really know it, but maybe you can imagine it. It's and it all is playing in this temple with these weird characters. When it comes to the story, I try to make as many unpredictable turns as possible. So in every normal game you would say, okay, the first area is your hub. That's obvious. And then there's this goddess and she gets caught by the evil god. So the goal is rescue her. But pretty soon you will recognize, okay, she doesn't really need help because she can help herself, and it's hard for me to describe because I'm really not the best storyteller, but I think in the game it's coming along quite good. It's like you really have to see these cutscenes and these weird characters. It's hard for me to tell the story in an interesting way. I really think you should look into the game, and if you like the graphics, then maybe you should play the demo. That's probably easier than me telling the story.
I love that the people that are in Felbound, they're like, hey, they don't really seem to like the princess. And
yeah, exactly.
It's kind of like, I love it.
That's what I meant. I try to do this cliche things of games, but make it like, okay, it's different.
Hey.
So you have this princess character that gets caught. Usually the princess would be helpless. In this game, she's not. So usually people want to rescue her. In this game, yeah, not so much. And stuff like that. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, you gotta rescue her, or not. No rush. And I love that. I love the attitude towards that for sure. And real quick, so I mean, you did a good job kind of reaching out and talking about that kind of place. But how did you approach the level design, and how did you approach it to make it feel cohesive and immersive?
Yeah, that's a difficult task. Most of the time, I look how other games do it, then I try to adapt that for Felbound. So for the tutorial, for example, that's probably at the moment the most polished level design I have. I looked at other tutorials and I thought I hate tutorials where you have to read something or where you just be in one room and do one thing after another. There are really bad tutorials out there, but there are also games who do it really right. And I like that you have this flow where you basically nobody tells you or only little hints that tell you what you have to do. And you have to figure out the rest. So there is a position where you have to jump over a gap. And yeah, there is a tutorial guy who explains it. But if you can't jump over the gap, you won't get further in the level. So I like this kind of tutorial, for example. Like that, I tried to introduce all of the main features, move sets of the player, and try to mix it with the stories so that you have storytelling and tutorial that it basically doesn't feel like a real tutorial. It's more like, okay, that's the first part of the game. It's like the introduction of the story and all of that, and it has a nice flow, and you don't have to be in one room and one NPC explains, okay, do this, then that, and that, then that, and yeah, I think it's okay at the moment. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out if the rest, so you at some point you will have finished the tutorial, and then you get into the dungeon, and then you have the real challenges. It gets harder and more enemies, more different kind of rooms and bosses and all of this stuff. I'm still trying to figure out if it's too hard or not too hard, because that's most of the feedback I get at the moment is that it's maybe a little bit too hard.
What do you think, Kronos?
I was waiting for that one. So I will admit I've been struggling. I've been
Yeah.
struggling a little bit.
Yes, I understand that, and I can only apologize about it because
Oh
it's
no need. It's fun. Like I just gotta learn it.
yeah, it's so hard to balance a game that you play all the time, every day, for hours.
Yes.
It's like, for me, the stuff that is at a normal difficulty for other players is for me boring, because because I played more than every other player will probably ever do.
Yeah. Dude, that's so true. It's so true. You know, you've talked with us a little bit about or with a lot about the gameplay so far and what players can expect from Felbound. Are there any specific mechanics or systems you've put in place that you're really proud of? Like you put this in, you're like, yeah, this is good. I know people are gonna like this.
That's really hard to say because most it's like, if I implement something at the first time, I try it and it feels good and I'm proud of it, but after a while that stops, and it's not that I'm proud of it, it's more, can I improve it? So
Right.
at the moment it's so hard to say if there's any. I mean, it's not one feature I'm proud of, but what I am really proud of is that the whole game feels like a professional game. The art is good, I would say.
Yeah, I agree.
And if you get back into the past and 2 years before, and you would show me my game, you would say you have done this, then I would be proud of it. But now I can't be proud of it. That's yeah.
Gotcha.
It's kind of perfectionism, and everyone knows that's not possible to achieve. And all the time you get better at what you're doing. So I may be proud today of something, but tomorrow not so much. So that's maybe the best way to describe it.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, I feel that, yeah, as soon as you do something and you're like, yeah, this is great, and you work on a bunch of other things, and maybe 3 months down the line, you're looking back and you're going, I don't know, maybe I can tweak it this way or that way.
Yeah, I feel that. That's most of the time the case. It's very rare that I say, okay, it's perfect.
Right. So you probably, at this point, something you probably find challenging is what you were describing earlier, is just finding that balance of how hard the game is, right? Is that like your biggest challenge right now?
That's a good question. It's probably not the biggest challenge, because that kind of things can be tweaked very easy, because you can put less enemies in rooms, you can do a lot of things that's pretty easy to change. What really is the challenge for me is it's something that you can't even say what it is. Some games have this special something and others don't, and it's not always easy to tell what it is. So some games, you start the game and you can't stop playing.
Yeah.
Like the last game that was the case for me was He's Coming. Do you know? Maybe you know the game. It's pretty new. I think it's out for a week or something like that. It's also very minimalistic. It's a very minimalistic. How to describe it? It's kind of a roguelike, turn-based and everything. It's that the game design of the game. He's Coming. The game design is one of the best I've ever seen. It's a pretty simple game, but it's on point.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, there are these games, but it's not easy to say what are they doing right and what are other games are doing wrong. Why is this game a success and why is this not a success? Sometimes it's obvious, but for some games it's not that obvious. And I still trying to find. Yeah, I'm a pretty logical guy, so I have implemented this analytics into the game, and I see where people stop playing. So I get these events, and the events get recorded, and I see, okay, 50% of the players stop after the tutorial. It's 45% of the player stop after the tutorial. And
Okay.
so that tells me that probably players need more guidance in the rest of the game. That's what I think. But it's I don't know if that really is the reason. So
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Florian.
mhm.
You were there when I played it for the first time. I was playing it blind on my stream, and I'm in that group that's like, I can't accept getting my butt kicked on a game, especially in front of an audience. And it was one of those types of you want to get to, and I'm sure Kronos, you felt this way too. I mean, you said you played it for a couple of hours and kind of got your butt handed to you, but you kept pushing through because it's like it makes you want. It's like, see, you're like, it might be too difficult. Sometimes you got to have these really difficult, challenging games because it's a lot more rewarding when you can get through them. And I'll be honest with you, I found myself coming back, and I think there were like 4 or 5 times I'm like, okay, I need to get on to the next game to showcase. And I kept dying, and I'm like, okay, one more run. Okay, one more run. Okay, one more run.
It's
And
addictive.
yeah, it's addictive, and it's something. It just snowballed. I had to force myself. Once I finally got through all 3 and defeated the boss, then I was like, okay, I can move on to the next one. But it was like, we're doing this until I complete it. So I think that's you have that quality in your game. The ones that are really into these types of games, they're going to stick around. And as far as your tutorial goes, I really like that Reaper that follows you around and tells you not to use bombs on the wall. And you find his body and you don't touch my beard, that kind of thing. It's lots of really good, engaging ways to give some tutorials. But maybe if you're looking for more guidance throughout the game, maybe have that ghost follow you around more often because it had some pretty good, entertainment value. Some of the things that he said was funny, and it was kind of giving you, hey, did you know you can dash over small gaps? Don't touch, don't bomb this wall. There's nothing behind there to see. This is a dead end. But it's kind of like you're at the same time you're saying, hey, you know what? You want to bomb here because this is a weakness in the wall. And that's how it does it. So you made it really entertaining, but maybe if you just kind of push that throughout the entire game, it might make it a little bit more engaging and kind of handle that need that you're talking about with people might need a little bit more guidance.
Yeah, that could be a solution. The problem there is there are so many possible solutions to this problem
Yes.
that it gets really hard, and all you do takes time. And
Yeah.
after time, you maybe see, okay, that doesn't work. And then you have to do something else. Maybe you remove this. It's also possible that you put all this stuff in and then it's too much. And yeah, it's really hard. But yeah, I think that could be. I didn't thought to this guy moving with you all the dungeon, but some cutscenes here and there, and some situations where you have encounters with NPCs, because I watched some people playing the game, and I think the time they enjoyed the most were this little jokes, and it doesn't has to be much. It's just like, yeah, here and there some funny sentences of weird looking NPC like in the tutorial. So already thinking about that, and I also implemented a new mini boss, and in this area where you can encounter this mini boss, there is again a little story. It's yeah, and I try to put in such elements all over the place so that at least at the beginning of the so if you play the game long enough, you will see all of this story elements. But at the beginning, you have the feeling, okay, every level can encounter a story element in every level of the game, and that's what I want to give the player, because I think it's fun, kind of. Yeah, it's like, okay, now I have some story elements. I can the adrenaline, how should I say it? So you get calmer. You know, okay, now at least for this dialogue, I'm in a safe space, and then you fight again. So it's this mixture of fighting and calmness. I want to have that more, because if you are in a fighting state all the time, that's maybe a little bit too much, I can imagine. At least I like if games have this diversity to it. So probably, yeah, that will be the direction I go. But at the moment, I'm talking to a professional game designer about it. Or better said, I don't talk to him. I started the conversation, and I will talk to him in the future, and he will look into the game and tell me what he thinks that maybe is wrong with the game, or where I can put more effort into it to make it better.
But yeah, man, that's so much better to be able to bounce ideas like that off of another dev in order to be like, hey, you've done a really successful game. Can you look at mine and just give me some pointers? Sometimes it's so much better to be able to have someone to give you some feedback that way in order to get better insight. It'd be like, oh, I never looked at it from that way. Okay, maybe I should try this. Because sometimes I feel too many times that, as you said before, we're trying to be perfectionists when it comes to it. And you just need to stop. Just need to cut the cord. You're done with that. But like, then it makes you insecure about your choices sometimes. Like, was it the right time to stop on that section of the game?
Yeah, I think that's very important what you say, because yeah, if it comes to me, I want to improve everything all the time, because I don't see, okay, now it's enough. I don't see that, and for that I want someone who is not involved in the game like I am, and I think what you say is totally on the point.
All right, Kronos.
Yeah. So like it's got a very nice, like stunning looking 2D art style, kind of like retro feeling. Can you walk us through the process of like how you like was defining its visual identity and like how it complements the themes of the game?
Yes, so it's already talked about the inspiration of the art style. Basically, there's this point where you start. You start always with some kind of mock-up idea, and the first thing I draw was this character and some kind of tile set for the dungeon. And after that, it's just improving all the time. It's like I redraw the player character, I don't know, 10 times, all the animations, because yeah, the first animations definitely weren't as good as they are now, and I reworked all the animations, even the style of the character. Like now it has this helm that's pretty unique, and that's another thing. I started and I was pretty boring. My art style was pretty boring, and it's still in this, how should I say that? It's still not where I wanted, because for this game it won't work like I wanted, because I have the feeling games need really strange looking art style. So like what is a good example? Yeah, you don't draw how should I say it? Every character in the game should be somehow special, like strange eyes, strange expressions. Nothing should be normal. Normal is maybe for some pixel art RPGs, but if you have a game like that, you should be strange. I don't know how to tell it better. So the process of the art style in general is starting, then improve it again, then improve it again, put in what you want, improve it all the time. It's really, maybe there are art. I'm a beginner artist. I have to say I'm really, yeah, I started 8 years before, but not all the time I did pixel art. I did programming and game developing and pixel art, and that beside a full-time job. Now for 2 years I'm both programmer and pixel artist, and maybe I'm still learning, but I would say pixel or art in general needs some base, and then you have to improve it. Maybe if you're very good, you can just draw it and it's perfect and you don't have to rework it, but for me it's like that. And then I was looking at for inspirations all over the place. I really tried to not only look at one game for inspiration, so I have this maybe I would say, yeah, it's most of the time it's Enter the Gungeon and Zelda Minish Cap, but there are also Quest Master is a very good pixel art game, or Undermine. Undermine has a much bigger resolution, or sprite size, but I also looked into Undermine and looked what inspiration can I take from that game. It's often like a lot of the art is also coming up with the right colors, because colors are so important to show that the game is top down, but everything is 2D drawn. So you basically these 3 dimensions you get it with colors. Everything you see, where everything on the top is a little bit lighter as on the side, and that gives this feeling, okay, it's 3 dimensional. And yeah, another important thing was that I come up with what kinds of, the story as whole is very important because it plays in a temple. So every enemy is some kind of shadow, and these shadows can take different forms. Okay, I have the skeletons. A skeleton is nothing else than bones possessed by a shadow, and slime is some fluid possessed by a shadow, and that goes through all the enemies in the game. So if you have the freedom to choose any enemy, so you can take a goblin, an orc, something else, it's too much freedom. You have to decide what kind of enemies you have. It has to feel consistent. That's general in art. That the most important thing is consistency. For example, if I get an artist for the game, and this artist would be much better than me, he can put in sprites that I never could achieve, and I would mix this perfect sprites with the existing sprites, it would look much better than my art style into the game. So, and the same goes for enemies. It has to feel consistent.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope I answered the question. I know game dev is my passion, so I have a lot to say about it, and sometimes I go, yeah, you ask me that and I telling you something else. So if I don't answer your question, just let me know.
No, I mean, to be honest with you, Florian, like, the nice thing about having people like you on is, we're really big on not only indie games, but the development side of it as well. So anything that you want to share with us, we love it. We absolutely love it. So I think you're doing a great job here with answering your questions, and obviously adding whatever you want to add as well is perfect. I wanted to ask you a question, kind of doing more about the development side and kind of getting out of the development at the same time. Is the music and the sound is really great in Felbound. So, but what is the music or sound like in Felbound in terms of, like, how does it enhance the player's experience, do you think?
Sound and music. So basically, I would say sound and music is a little bit. How should I say that? I would say the sound has to fit but it's not that important for the mood in the game. Yeah, it has to enhance everything. Again, it has to be consistency. But I would say that the music is very important because the music decides what the player feels. And again, that's something that's really hard for me because I'm not good when it comes to music. I don't have this ear for it. I can't tell if music is good or not, but that's all. If I have often the problem with I have a good composer for the game. That and some sound effects. I have two freelancer for sound. I have one freelancer, and for the music I have a freelancer who does the music and sounds for the game. So it's really hard to communicate how the music should be. Sound is a little bit easier because I started you have these libraries of sounds, and then you pick the sounds you think that would fit and put it in. And I started that by my own. So at the beginning, all the sounds were made by me, not made by me, but picked by me from libraries. And sometime for about 3-4 months, I don't know, I have a sound designer on the game who's really good, I think, and he works so independently. That's really cool for me because he stick with the sounds I started with, and now he just improves everything and makes it more consistent and improves sounds that needs improvement, and it's really cool. But I don't think sounds they're very important, but not that difficult. But music is so difficult. To choose the right music is,
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It can make or break a game, and I can't answer this question because I'm still struggling. Is the music good enough? What I am at the moment, I can tell you that too. At the moment, I'm thinking you have this first level, for example, and you repeat you have the music in a loop. And I don't know how long the loop is, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that. That's pretty common for this kind of games. I'm at I look at other games, or better said, I have a composer who is experienced in game development, and he told me, okay, other games like this have a loop 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and I stick with that. But what I'm thinking for Felbound at the moment is I maybe should, because this loop gets annoying. Maybe only for me because I play the game so often and I hear the music so often. But again, I think I should go to silence if you don't encounter, because the music is it gets you excited, and I want the player to calm down whenever the possibility is. So always when you don't encounter any enemy, I should go to an ambient music or something like that. And that's something I want to add to the game pretty soon. So yeah, basically I would say think which kind of mood you want to get the player into, and then look at successful games, how they do the music, then choose. I made it like that. I picked different music from similar games, the music while I played the game, and then you have the feeling, okay, this music is right, this is not right. That's pretty soon. You don't have to hear much of the music, and you feel, okay, this is right and this is not right. So yeah, I get the mood the player should have, and then I get examples for the composer. I tell them everything, and the rest is part of the job of the composer, because I'm not good enough for music, and I probably will never do music by myself.
Well, I can
Dude.
understand that for sure. I mean, when I was playing through it, I mean, it's catchy. I mean, you had some bangers in there, and some of our viewers, when I was playing the game live, they actually specifically mentioned that the music was good. Finished edited video that I had put on YouTube also had some comments on it that the music was really good. So I think you did a good job there as well. And that kind of leads to my next question. You kind of already answered it, but do you work with composers or sound designers, or is it something that you handled internally, which I know you didn't, but you did mention that you picked some of the music from a catalog, or is it all original music, or is it a mix of working with composers and picking some from a catalog?
No, it's all original music. What I meant is just to give the composer an idea how the music should be. Therefore, I go to other games and hear the music of other games while I'm playing Felbound.
Yeah. Dude, that makes sense. There's so many. I actually use one of my buddies. He does music for a living. He's helping me out with my game too. There's no way I could do music on my own. No way. It is so hard.
Definitely. I mean, I think you could learn it because I was never an art guy and I started pixel art and now I'm able to do it. So I think you would be able to learn it, but it would take so much time.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, time.
Yeah.
Cool. I got a question for you. Now that I don't think we've mentioned to our listeners, so your planned release date is next year summer, correct?
Yes, it's hard to tell exactly because I don't want to rush the release. I really want to release when the game is finished and feels good and I think it's in the best possible state it can be. So yeah, if the time comes and I think it needs some more time, I probably delay it. But yeah, that's probably the most common thing in game dev.
Yeah, definitely. So it's probably more like just a tentative. And so the reason I ask too is because are you worried about other releases when you go to release your game? Because I think it's GTA's new game is coming out next year in the summer. Is that something you're like, you don't really care? You're just, if it's ready, and you're going to release it? Or is that something in the back of your head of other big titles being released?
Yeah, definitely important because you shouldn't release in Steam Next Fest, for example, or I don't know if GTA would be a problem, but also, again, I wouldn't release the game on the day where GTA is released. So, but I'm more looking into games that are direct, that are similar to Felbound. Like, I wouldn't release on the day where, for example, Undermine 2 releases, but they are releasing in 3 days, so that won't be a problem. But similar games are, I think similar games are more of a problem than these big blockbusters. But still, I I would talk to publishers before because the good thing, even if you don't have a publisher deal with a publisher, they want to stay connected with you and I have a lot of people who work for publishers at the moment in my contact list, so I will ask them what they say, but I have the feeling don't release on big Steam events like Steam Next Fest or something like that, and don't release when similar games get released. Yet generally, if a big indie game gets released on the same date, it's probably not the best I can do. There is another thing that should be taken into account. Steam works with algorithm. So, for example, if there is a week on Steam where no game gets released, it's easier. I mean, there is never a week where no game gets released, but then it would be easier to be in some lists, new upcoming, new releases, new whatever. It's much easier to be in such lists if you don't have any other games that gets released in the same time. So the release date is very, very important.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. All right, everyone. I think at this point, we're going to go ahead and do a quick ad break. And when we get back, we're going to jump in some more developer questions with Florian and have him tell us a little bit more about his game right after this. Hey, Indie Hangout crew. Loving the show? Help us spread the word by dropping a quick 5-star rating or review wherever you might be listening to this podcast. It takes just a second and helps more than you know. Thanks for being awesome. Now, back to the show. And welcome back, everyone, to the Indie Hangout Podcast, episode 13. We are joined by Florian from Poink Games, and he's talking to us about his game Felbound. And of course, with my co-host OSOKKronos and Maztec Gaming, myself, Neumatix. Let's jump in to some more developer questions with Florian here, and I'll throw it over to Kronos.
So, Florian, as an indie dev, how did you balance like creative freedom with practical realities of like budget and timelines and like your resources that were available?
It's really tough because creative freedom would mean I make the game I really want. And to be honest, if you start with developing a game, you want to do something great, something huge, like, I don't know. One of my biggest inspirations for game development in general is Stardew Valley. I really enjoyed the game. I think it looks awesome, it feels awesome. But it's such a huge game. It took Consent Ape, I think, 5 years to develop the game. And back then, when I started developing, I thought 5 years is so much time. You can do everything in that time. And now I think, how did he manage to make everything of the game in 5 years? He made the music, the sound effects, everything, and everything's super polished, and the game is just amazing. So yeah, if I would be 100% free, I would do something like that. For me, it would be more on the if I would be 100% free, or I would have done something like, my first idea of a game was something similar to Core Keeper. Maybe you know that game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a great
Yeah,
game.
yeah, it's one of the best indie games, I think. Terraria is another great example of Terraria is my favorite indie game all time. So I wanted to make Terraria top down, which is basically Core Keeper. But at the start of the development, I already realized I can't do it. I don't have the experience. I can't even imagine how much work it is, because at that time I had enough experience to say I can't do it. Yeah, but if I have the freedom, I would maybe try something like that. I would choose something, and maybe it's also a good thing to don't have 100% freedom, because I would start something I can never finish. Maybe, I don't know. So now I try to choose a genre that I can't finish, and still, the game is too big for a first game, I would say. It's not the best choice for me. If you're very experienced, it's easier, but I wouldn't say it's the best choice. But I choose it, and I'm 2 years into the development, and it's getting good. I would say, at least I would say, Steam wishlist and feedback is good enough to continue, and so I want to finish it. But 3 years on the first game is already too much, I would say. So I choose the genre because I don't have the freedom to do whatever I want. I want to make it successful. So it has a good side and a bad side. So you can't do what you want, but it pushes you to do something you can finish. And the budget I need is not very big. I need enough for my living, and I need enough to pay the composer and the sound designer. But to be honest, it's not nothing, but it's not very expensive. It's not having someone else full time on the game. That would be expensive, because if you have to pay them, you have to pay a full-time developer. It's I don't know, depends on where he lives and how good he is. It's I live in Austria, and here it would be about 50,000 60,000 US dollars to pay someone full time to developing the game. So I'm doing all of the stuff by my own. So the things I have to minimize is time. I can't work on the game forever, because yeah, I don't know how big of a success it will be. If it's no success, it has to be okay for me. So that's how I think about it. So I should be able to live with it if it's completely no success. And I'm also doing some freelance stuff on the side. Not at the moment, but I did it for in these 2 years while I'm developing Felbound. I worked probably a half year, maybe more, for other companies to get a little bit of a budget for the game. Managing a game is easier if you do it solo. I couldn't imagine to take this risk if I put more money into it. That would be sleepless nights for me because I'm a secure guy. I never want to be in a situation where I don't have enough money for the rent or something like that. So everything has to be super safe for me, and like that I can sleep well. And yeah, that's how I manage it. But I think because I talked about it, core keeper guy. I'm not sure if he paid the other developers, but they had a bigger team and they took the risk. So they did the same like me. They made, I think, one game before Core Keeper with a bigger team, and then they made Core Keeper, probably some other games before, but I know about them. There's just one other game before Core Keeper, and then they had this bigger team, and still they took the risk. I don't know how much budget they needed, and they made an awesome game. So high risk, high reward, but I'm not willing to take the risk. So I try to make small games, and the next game after Felbound will be definitely smaller than Felbound. I don't want to develop another game for 3 years. And I also,
So
that's the last thing I have to say about it. I also would recommend for everyone who starts, you hear that all the time, make small games. But if you start, you always underestimate how much work a game is.
Yep.
I can only imagine that.
yeah,
I can only
New's
imagine
got
that.
some experience in that one because he's balancing out everything with life and his game.
It's tough, man. I know exactly how Florian feels here with trying to create a game, and especially if you have a full-time job and your family, and you got all these things going on in life. And I'm lucky to get 2 hours a night to work on it, and I know that's not enough, but I just focus in, and I hope it doesn't take me 5 years to get it done. You're probably thinking the same thing. You're like, all right, tentative, like you said, next year for release, and hopefully it doesn't take you, a couple more years than that. And at your next game, as many developers find out later on, yeah, they get that one big one out, like, oh my God, okay, next one, definitely 1 to 2 years maximum. It's going to be small.
Yeah, can understand that. It's one of those things, though, and I have to applaud both of y'all actually as developers. Is that Florian? You said if it's not just right, then you're going to push it back. So you're looking for this project to help generate revenue and fund potentially your next project, which is going to be a little bit smaller. You're the same way. I hope it doesn't take me 2 years, but you know what? If it takes you 3, then it takes you 3, right? Because you're committed to the quality of that. And that's things that you don't see anymore with AA and AAA games for the most part. It's kind of like, hey, you know what? We're going to make money. Let's get it rushed out. Let's get it out. Let's get it out. Let's get it out. And we can work on it on the back end. But, as solo developers, it's refreshing and good to hear that you are, when we're talking about Felbound right here, when Felbound comes out, you are going to be releasing it with your endorsement that this is the best version you could release at the time, before you get feedback and start to support it. So I think that's a very good thing. At the same time, I know that y'all don't like to take 2-3 years to develop things, but at the same time, you're doing a really good service for your gamers.
Yeah, I understand. As a player, I had the opinion. Okay, some AAA games should delay the release if it's not good and something like that. But now I understand more the developing side of games, and now I have to say I understand why such big companies have to push out a game. Like the last game I saw that was a little bit rushed was Cyberpunk. It was not ready for PlayStation, I think, but they still released it. And yeah, No Man's Sky was also such a thing where they released it and they promised so much, but they couldn't deliver. And I understand that. I mean, they have hundreds of people working on it that costs hundreds of $1 million, and if the money is out, you can't continue. So I understand it. And that's the luxury of probably mostly of solo development, that you have more freedom, so you can choose a genre that is a little bit more special, more creative. You can afford to make unsuccessful game. A big company can't do that. And that's the reason that I fell in love with indie games in general. I think they are much more creative, because at some point I get tired of this, I don't know what's the next Assassin's Creed, or the next, yeah, GTA is a hyped game and it will be good, and all of these AAA games are really really good. I can't say anything negative about it, but they are not as creative as these little indie games there that are around. Like the game I mentioned at the beginning of our conversation, He's Coming. It's such a creative new approach to this genre. Or yeah, there are a lot of these games, and I think that's the magic of very small indie games and small teams, and that you can take a little bit more risk on the idea of the game, and you can also take more time to finish it and polish it. It doesn't work out all the time, but yeah, sometimes some games are standing out and are very special, and I think that's very good for the whole gaming industry.
Oh yeah, for sure. So, I got a question for you. Let's see. We've gone through a bunch of stuff, and I love all your answers to a lot of things, and diving into even more about, how it is working on the game, knowing how long it takes. As same as I know, like it's so difficult to really get a good grasp on time frame with things. What's your workflow like when, like I already explained, like a little bit of mine is like after I'm out of work, I get home, I eat dinner, I go downstairs, and like for 2 hours after my little one goes to bed, I'm working on probably way later than I should, and I get like 4 hours of sleep. I go back to work until I get to the weekend. What's your workflow like? Do you have any rituals or tools that help you along the way to be more productive and creative?
Yeah, I used to work in a very planned, scheduled industry. Everything. I was a project manager, so if I tell that, everybody should think, okay, I'm very organized, but I'm so chaotic. I'm the worst. I don't know. How I work is very chaotic. I go with, if I have an idea of the game, what I want to implement. And I really like this idea in my mind. I'm very fast, and or not fast. I can work the whole day, and that pushes the game forward. So sometimes there is 1 week where I get so much done, so much new stuff and everything, and there is the next week, and I just procrastinating. I don't know what to do. Not that I don't know what to do, but I'm just doing this some random stuff. So I play the game and I see, okay, this needs more polish, and this needs a sound effect, and this, I don't like that, I change that. So it's very chaotic. I work from idea to idea a little bit. It's not the best way I think I can do it, but yeah, it's and about my schedule in general. Yeah, I also have to get my child ready for the kindergarten, and usually I wake up at 8 a.m., get her ready until 9 a.m., and then I start to work. Depends if I have to get her from the kindergarten and stuff like that. I work the rest of the day, or I'm most of the time 3 p.m. I get her from kindergarten, or my partner, her mother is getting her from the kindergarten, and then I spend time with her, and then after 8 p.m. I'm working again until, I don't know, 12 p.m. I try to sleep because I think that's so important. You said you only sleeping 4 hours. I have to say I used to do that too, but I don't want to do it anymore, and I think it makes you ill over the time. Good thing, the good thing for me and the game was that I got some funding from my country. So I have a little bit of money to live off, and I also have a lot of savings because as a project manager, I used to earn a good salary, and also that's also another good thing. I don't need much in life. I live in a big city. It's not a big city. It's only for our country a big city. It's about 1 million people here. So I don't need a car. I have everything in my range, and I don't need anything else. I need my computer. I love what I'm doing. So it's also it's not work for me to get to the table and work on the game. It's more, okay, finally I'm able to work on it. So yeah, and I also work on weekends and stuff like that. Whenever I don't spend time with my child, I'm working on the game, and it's yeah, the good thing it's not work, and I don't feel exhausted or burn out or anything like that. That's something good. So yeah, I try to get more organized, but it's so hard for me. I'm such a chaotic guy. I don't know how I managed to be a project manager before. I really don't know.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome that you have a bit of creative freedom to a point, you know. But yeah, even with more time, it still can get, as you say, and you could say, like, I feel like too, sometimes I'm a bit chaotic with it. It's like it's so hard when you have the creative flow going. It's so good. You could get so much done. But then you, like you said, you got those times where it's like you're procrastinating. Maybe you're stuck on something specific in the game, whether it's the design aspect of the next level or some piece of code, and you're like, why isn't this working? And he's like, I don't want to deal with it today. It's rough, man. So yeah, I understand 100% with that.
Yeah, exactly what you say. You describe it perfect, because every time you have a point where you can't decide what one example. I have these spells in the game, and at the moment you can equip a spell book. An idea was, what if you don't can equip a spell, you find the spell in the first level of the game, for example. So it's a roguelike, you will die a lot and start over a lot. So you go in the first level, and there will be a point where you find a random spell book. Something like that. So some players say, yeah, that's a good idea. Others say, I want my character build. I want this spell and only this. And if I find another that's good too, I want to keep the other spell and stuff like that. So that's a small thing, but I can't decide how to continue. So it's not hard to implement, but if you try it and it doesn't work, it's a wasted time. So if there are points like that, it's really hard to continue, and that's why I also want some external professional game designer who looks on the game, because I could be much faster if I don't have this many choices to make where I don't know what I should do. I think that will make everything much faster.
So I mean, we know you came into Maz's stream and was talking to him and stuff, but leading up to the release of your game next year, are you gonna like plan on getting involved with the community a lot more to try and build up a little bit of hype for your game and stuff, or maybe like releasing a longer demo or beta test?
Yeah, basically I'm already doing that. So the first thing, I have I would say I have a small community. It's I have a Discord server, and I connected the game so you can join in the game and also on the Steam page into the Discord server. That helps a lot because there are not many people. I don't know. I think it's only 50 people, but still, I mean, 50 people who like my game and who talk about it and help me with stuff like making decisions and stuff like that. That really helps, and it also motivates me. What I hear from your question, it's more on the marketing side in general. So getting feedback is very important, and I get a lot of feedback already from the Discord server, from the Steam discussions, from the Steam reviews. That helps a lot, because that's I don't know how long this feature is on Steam. You can put the demo on our own page, and then you can get reviews on your Steam page, like for a real game or a released game. Yeah, and building a community further than that, I'm all the time I'm trying to get more wish lists, because that's the most important parameter for the success of a game. Game is doing okay at the moment. I already over a certain point where it probably will get attention when it gets released, and for that I also do something. That's probably the most common thing to market your game. I apply to every festival, game expo, everything I find online. Um, that I just applying to these events, because for example there was this OTK Game Expo, and such an event can bring a lot of people who play the game, and then you again get feedback. And what also helps is YouTubers and streamers and everyone who plays the game, talks about the game. That helps so much. So I'm also that's also the reason why I really appreciate being here, because I'm a small indie developer, and I need the exposure of the game. I need that, and I don't have any budget to pay anyone to get that. And I also think that's more honest like that. So yeah, that's what I'm aiming for.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up because, we need, we need you for our content and you need us, to help with exposure and whatnot. Yeah, it's I don't want to say it's one hand washes the other. That sounds like it's just we're doing it for ourselves and if you do something for us, but it's it's a community thing. There's the gamers, there's the developers, there's the content creators, the influencers, whatever you want to call us. But it's important because if the game is good, and it's really good, I personally love this game. I had so much fun playing it. Honestly, Florian, it's probably a game that I'm going to end up playing as a series on my channel because I did have a lot of fun with it. I mean, I'm still playing it even since my first experience with it online. But I wanted to ask you as well, real quick, looking ahead to summer. Let's fast forward to mid 2026. What's one thing that you hope players will say about Felbound after they've played it?
I I don't know if I can think of something they say, but and it already happens. I have this one guy on Discord who played the game for 23 hours and asked me for one
Wow.
weapon, if it's still if that one is unlockable. And I said, oh no, it's not. That's probably the most. It's not specific what he said. It's just this guy really liked the game, played it for 23 hours, and still wants to play more. That's the most rewarding thing I can imagine.
That's great. That's awesome. And I'm right there. It's 3 levels, boss fight, mini boss. You get some of those big knights that I don't like them. I don't like them at all. They're tough.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'll tell you though, like I said, I'm still playing it. I've been playing it for about a month now. I'm part of your
Yeah,
playtest.
yeah,
I'm enjoying it.
something like that. That's awesome for me. I mean, I do the whole game development is something I want to do for me, but I think one thing I want to do it is also because I want people to play it, people like you, and to hear that the game is they enjoy the game. That's awesome.
Yeah, one of the most rewarding things. All right, cool. Love it. Very good stuff. Well, I think we will start to wrap it up here, Florian. If you don't mind, would you like to have our listeners, you want to plug anything? Maybe just have them come wishlist your game or follow you over on anything specific?
Yeah, what you said, please look at the Steam page, and if the description and the art is something you could enjoy, try the demo, and if you like it, wishlist it. That's the best you can do to helping me, and same is also for other indie devs. Wishlists are so important, and it's for free. So I would never ask anyone who doesn't like the game to wishlist it, because basically that's not so good for the algorithms of Steam. But if you like it, please wishlist it. Yes.
Florian, we really appreciate you coming out and talking about Felbound. I'm excited for it. It's wishlisted on my end for sure. Looking forward to playing it some more. And I really appreciate all the time that you've given us today to talk about your game, to come onto the podcast and let yourself be known. And please don't be a stranger. And maybe at some point, once this releases, a couple of months later, maybe we get you back on and see how things have changed since then.
Yeah, that would be amazing. And thanks again for this opportunity to talk about all the stuff I do most of the time by my own. So yeah, I really enjoyed the talk.
All right. Well, everyone, listeners, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Hopefully you found this very intriguing, very interesting to have Florian on to talk about his game Felbound. As always, you can grab some more information if you were to join our Discord. You'll have a link to our Discord in the About section. And we'll go ahead for this episode. We'll throw some links for Florian in there so you could check out his game and everything. But other than that, that is it for us. Catch us every Thursday when we release our episodes at 5 a.m. Central Time and 6 a.m. Eastern Time. And until then, we will catch you guys later. Bye.
That's a wrap.
See you later.
Bye-bye.